Hey everybody, welcome to another one of these Warchest Team League recasts. Quick little recap of this. This was versus Zombiegrub's team, the Grubalubadubdubs, and this match comes from game number 5. The score's tied up 2-2, and it's worth noting going into this, we were a little worried because Showtime has server advantage. Let's hop into it. So welcome back everybody to the 5th and final, and most importantly, ace match in this series versus Zombiegrub, continuing our trend of every one of our series going to game number 5. I think we're the only team that this is the case for at this point. Regardless, at the top right, representing the Grubalubadubdubs, playing for Team Zombiegrub, it is Showtime. And to the bottom left, he is one of the best players in Korea, rocking the top of GSL, and representing Team Rifkin, it is Rogue. Now this was a particularly interesting one. Again, I'm going to try and cast this spoiler free, so I won't reveal who won or anything. But going into this, Rogue was actually a little concerned because he knew Showtime was a good player, but he's never really played Showtime before. Lucky for us, the brains of the operation, Lambo, in our team chat, our little private team chat, was actually out there saying, okay, Showtime is going to do X, Y, and Z in this game. He does this when it's cross server, which this is, so look out for blank. And I'll reveal what that call is in a moment, but I just want you guys to know as we watch Showtime build here, Lambo called this perfectly. And it's just actually so incredible that he could do that, because like I said, I respect Lambo to be a good player, but to be able to make those kind of predictions is nuts. Anyways, it's all about, of course, Rogue acting on those predictions. Does he listen to Lambo? And if he does listen to Lambo, how does he react to things going down? So we'll watch this unfold. But part of the predictions, the generally statement here, is that Showtime likes to play glaives cross server. This, of course, refers to the resonating glaive opening right now. That is the not all in version. This has actually been really popular for the last while. It's almost the go-to build for all Protoss players right now. So it's not like Lambo was predicting a crazy unseen build, but it was the right call. And just so you guys are aware, again, it's going to be resonating glaives. We'll see this develop here in a moment. I will say though too, I had so much fun casting with Zombiegrub live on this one. Again, I highly recommend you check out the Warchest Team League actual VOD over on the Starcraft YouTube channel, because hey, it's been a while since we cast with Zombiegrub. You know, we worked together for years. It's nice get the band back together, so to speak. But it was also just high stakes because her and I are both very competitive people. I think during the cast, we had talked about how she's a sore loser and a sore winner, and I'm kind of in the same category. So it was really a perfect matchup, I think. Not to mention Zombiegrub just has an absolutely stellar lineup of players. But yeah, Showtime being their ace. And I don't actually think this is a bad call on their part either. Showtime is a very solid player with actually amazing reactions to things. So while maybe he opens this and Rogue opens that, I fully believe both Showtime and Rogue are good enough to read the situation and handle it appropriately. Yeah, Rogue of course had to skip to his third base right away just to make sure that there wouldn't be any probe shenanigans, and then he takes his natural shortly after. So this still just ends up being the typical 3 bases for Zerg. Nothing to really bat an eyelash at here. But because, and this is where it gets important, it is resonating glaives, and keep in mind Showtime hasn't been scouted or anything yet being the operative word. If Rogue believes in our boy Lambo and he wants to listen to the foreigner on our team, some random German Zerg, then he'll focus a little bit more on army units and a little bit less on droning too greedy. If he were to go above 40 drones very quickly, he wouldn't have any army units to fight with, and I think he knows that too. The other thing Rogue's done here that's so important is he spread his units out very vastly, but covering almost every entrance. There is no way, hardly, for Showtime to leave his base without being revealed, especially if it's a warp prism. That's what Rogue's looking for most here, by the way, too, because if there's just some kind of units walking across the field, it's not a big deal. You see the warp prism, you know it's the attack, and he has seen the warp prism. He's also seen the adepts. I don't think there's any question what it's going to be at this point, but this is hitting at a time before the Roach Warden's done, which means the Roaches won't be done. And Rogue could be in a lot of trouble for this initial push. realistically here with Resonating Glaives, Showtime has a lot of damage to output. When it's just Zerglings, you don't want to send those in. They'll die too easily. You'll see them go for the surround, but the transfer goes off, but it's a safe transfer out of the base instead. All future transfers, Rogue's going to want to be on top of. The idea is you use the Roaches to fight the Adepts where they currently are, and you use the Zerglings to chase the Adept transfer for where they're going to be. Zerglings don't really engage on top of Adepts very well, but if they transfer into the Zergling pile, well, that's actually pretty good for the Zerg. Still, though, the cancel's being baited. And Showtime's really looking for a way to try and get Rogue out of position. But I think the key thing about this really was identifying the fact that Rogue has a 35 drone count right now. He's starting to build some drones, a little bit behind this, but he put emphasis on getting army units out there. And if he didn't, Showtime would be running wild with kills right now from base to base to base. And this would go from potentially a really sick matchup to something that was over in 6.5 minutes. So really happy to see that Rogue took that advice, that warning seriously. Again, I don't know how much he listened to Lambo versus just said like, yeah, Lambo's got a good idea. He probably knows what's going on. I'll just react to it. But still, the Adepts have been mostly shut down. They grab a few drones. All right, nothing too crazy. Keep in mind, Showtime did also have to himself sacrifice a little economy early on to get these kind of push going. But, you know, this has created this awkward soft contain. As Showtime falls back, he also takes a third, and with his Adepts out, defending this third should be a piece of cake against small Zergling run-bys. Now I just want to acknowledge here too, Rogue, one of my players, he's really good in terms of the team, but in some of the previous matches up to this point, Rogue has lost some pretty bad games in pretty bad ways. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dog on Rogue. I really like and respect him, and I still hope he does well for all the future matches we still have to play for this team league. But it was really tough putting him in the ace slot. I was actually very much advocating for Clem, actually, but as my team had majority elected Rogue, I was very happy to say, okay, no, you guys are probably right, we'll put him in. But this was stressful. This was very stressful, because at this point in the game still, it's not even like a for sure thing. Showtime's got a massive attack mounting. He's just gotten a huge scout with these Phoenix. Ravagers are on the way, and the Immortals are already knocking. The Zergling counterattack, lame, less than exciting. So it's a very scary situation. But with the Roaches now into Ravagers, yeah, there's actually a recall going off because Showtime knew it was gonna be able to get out of here alive if he took a real fight. But that's what I was gonna say. The Ravagers make all the world's difference. Without a way to break the force fields, Showtime has complete and total control of that situation. When the Ravagers morphed in, backing away was definitely the right call. Now, for better or for worse, you know, Rogue knows what the composition looks like. He's swapping up to Spire a little bit behind this, which I really like. You know, Sentries are okay. Stalkers are obviously what you want, but there's not really a lot of anti-air right now. At least not a lot of reliable anti-air at the moment, especially with Immortals and Adepts being the focus. As he pushes up, he gets to put some pressure on. Doesn't want to commit too much and get caught in this force field, so just a little bit of a hit and run for the time being. He picks off an Observer with a Corrosive Bile, which is very impressive, by the way. It's a small target to hit. But all in all, when you look at the resources lost, you look at the units lost so far in this game, this has been a very nothing game, all things considered. For somebody who brought Resonating Glaives in the early game, you'd expect to see a lot more dead Zerg. At the same time, too, if those Resonating Glaives die, there's a counterattack. I mean, this game could have been over already in many different ways, but Force Field 1 gets baited. Rogue tries to swerve around to look for another way in. This is tough. There's a lot of Adepts up there, so good luck, Zerglings. Wallace pushes in on the left side. Rogue also pushes in on the right side. It's not safe to say he'll win the right side fight, but it's pretty clear he won the left as the Adepts transfer away to safety. But all in all, for Rogue, he does need to back away. As he continues to put on this pressure, though, you know, he droned up to 72 workers. You know, he's on 5 bases while this goes on and making the transition to mutas. So I really don't think this is about committing. This isn't about getting a lot of damage done. It is very much that very old school, you know, the best defense is a good offense. He's keeping Showtime busy at home. Showtime in turn not pressuring him. Let's Rogue get away with this follow-up tech. And this is where we go back to where the mutas are going to have a lot of power, because frankly, there's not a lot of anti-air. Now, I don't know if that Phoenix saw the Mutalisk. He's not seen the Spire up to this point. I really do think this is a complete surprise for Showtime. And don't get me wrong, like Blink Stalkers with +2, they can get some work done versus Mutas, but big distraction. Kansas City Shuffle. Struggle with that one. You look right and he goes left for Kansas City Shuffle. Mutas do get pushed out of the main, but man, that's a lot of Mutas. Coming in on top of the army as well. We look at the current Stalker count as it turns around. 19 Stalkers should be able to handle this if it was just Mutas. But the Roaches and Ravagers add another layer of complexity for damage. The Showtime holds once again. And realistically, Showtime's doing pretty well in terms of trades, resources lost. Granted, not very much, but stacking up in favor of the Protoss. Oh, drone's almost transferred to that corrosive bomb. That's a little scary. Mutas come down here though. One cannon with a shield battery. Who cares? Overcharge on the shield battery. Barely enough to keep the cannon alive. Mutas still get that kill. Then he'll walk away from the Stalkers. Right side, left side, both attacks going off simultaneously, but to the top, Showtime does prevail. But at the same time, I kind of think that was okay for Rogue. As he gets rid of these nasty roaches, he can build more sexy Mutalisks. Virgin Roaches versus Chad Mutas. And these Chad Mutas are going ham on these Stalkers. Zergman's getting in there helping a little bit too. The Mutalisk count now up to 23. I think 25 is a murder of Mutas, and at that point you've got too many to deal with. So Rogue's almost right there at being unstoppable. But right now he's being kind of managed. And while more Mutas spawn, bringing that number up, keep in mind that all of them are right here. But this is enough to still kill units through his shield battery. And Showtime's burned his overcharge, so there's not a second one available. This starts picking off a lot of probes, and things are looking really good for Rogue. Granted, he's having a hard time directly engaging the main army, but he never needs to engage the main army if he can get behind it and kill all these workers over and over again. Goes for the pylon. That's a double unpower if it commits, but realizing now, wait a minute, there's a lot of units out in the open in the middle of the map without much anti-air to defend. The Mutas do flock in at 31. 20 Stalkers are out here to help deflect, trying to juggle the Colossus. Respect the attempt, Showtime, but F for the execution. Losing one of those Colossus, by the way, at this point, maybe not so bad, but Showtime doesn't have enough army, much less economy, to support losing these units. If he had amazing money behind it, yeah, give away the Colossus and warp in like 4 more Stalkers, right? Make use of that supply. But as the Mutas come in, it's 37 Mutas! Ricochet all over the place! No Guardian Shield to reduce this bounce damage! And the Stalker count is falling. No Archons, no Phoenix, Rogue running wild. GG. And with that, call an ambulance, but not for us, seals the deal on Zombiegrub's team. And we send them to the bottom 2 and stay alive just a little bit longer for this team league. If you guys want more of these casts, just let me know. Hit me up with the comments down below, but be sure to check out the official Starcraft channel because all the games over there were cast so sick and so live. But I'll see you guys on the next one.